Well, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 17th of June, 2020. And today I'm going to discuss kind of a sensitive subject. And it's the reason why I'm kind of a middle of the roader, okay? I occupy the centrist position, which is to say I see value in the right and the left. And I see methods of the right that operate in order to maximize freedom of choice for individuals. And I see methods of the left as ways to object to stagnation. All right. Now, first of all, who am I? You're looking at a person who appears to be a lady, a grandmother, who's a divorcee, who struggles with difficult issues. I grew up in the Bay Area, in Hayward and San Francisco and Sonoma. I've always been a little bit on the outside. But what you're not looking at is a woman. I'm not a woman. I have the left brain dominant mind of a spirit male. Not only that, but of a dark spirit male. I think after the manner and way of a black man. I don't think like a white woman. And of course, this is kind of an uncomfortable space to be in, all right? And so I understand the transsexual movement from the inside, all right? My father, who was a white male humiliated by his circumstances, psychologically adapted to having to be submissive to his narcissist father and narcissist system by wearing women's clothing. In the 20s, when he was refused permission to marry whom he chose, and he was required to marry somebody that his father wanted him to marry, he said, no the hell way, and he started dressing like a woman, just out of humiliation. All right. Now, I've made the choice from the age of about 3 that I was going to accept the biology that I have been gifted with. Okay, I'm in a woman's body. I went through 47 years of menstrual periods. I birthed 5 children, but that's not what's going on up here. I have a man spirit. I'm left brain dominant, and I contend with ideas, not the way a woman does by the particularities of the relationships, but by the concepts and where the concepts are leading into the future. And so I have to, at some point, speak to the dichotomy, the splitting apart between biological sex and gender. Okay, I live the woman's role, always have. I have never identified with lesbians whom it seemed to me were refusing to accept what God had gifted them with. Because being gifted with a woman's body for a male, particularly dark spirit, is a real challenge, I'll tell you. It's a real challenge. You've got to adapt to stuff you never even imagined you'd have to adapt to. And it's an education, and it's hard, but that's okay. The universe is an education, and the universe is hard. The universe is not fun. If you are looking for a way to have fun, this is not where you want to be. Okay. This is a place where we contend with struggle and suffering, where we contend with discomfort and embarrassment and humiliation, and the requirement that we just suck it up, baby. You got to just suck it up. All right. So what about this transhuman movement, and what about the transsexual movement? Those movements occur among the people who reject the gifts that God gave them. They're trying to be what they would like to design for themselves. And that's a narcissist position. And they are welcome to experience the consequences and outcomes of it. I chose to do something else. I am a religious Christian. I come from a Jewish background. I accept the law and I accept the Beatitudes, and that's what I attempt to be, is an attitude that is a credit to womankind, even though that's not how I operate, okay? That's not how I operate, and that's why my pod shots on Twitter are a lot like a snake in the grass. I suspect that Ann Coulter, as beautiful as she is, she's not just a woman either. She's cool. She's really cool. I have a lot of respect for her. And so, as far as taking biological law into my own hands and insisting that my left brain dominant male spirit and my dark spirit, I'm not a white light spirit, I'm a dark light spirit, which means, it's not that dark spirits are bad. It's that their emotional response is the other side of the coin. And so I respond emotionally first, and then intellectually and cognitively. So cognitively, I'm slow, but the emotional reaction is instantaneous, which is the flip side of a white male. Okay. My white male husbands found me very disconcerting. I cut him off at the knees. Okay, I was terrible. I was a terrible wife. And so I've been single now 25 years. Yeah. There's not a white man who's going to want to deal with somebody like me. No. But that be as it may. Okay. Understand these gender conflicts are real. They are not anybody's imagination. And a child who says, Mom, I'm not in the right body, I should be this or I should be that, okay, is not messing with you. That's their perception of the predicament, that their way of thinking isn't matching their peers, and it's matching the peers of the other gender. And what you can say to your child who says that to you is, honey, I understand your way of thinking is different from the other girls or the other boys of your age. However, God has given you this biological body in order to learn how to balance yourself between right brain and left brain. And yes, it's a challenge, but I hope you'll come to accept the biological body that God has given you this time, because it's a form of schooling and learning that apparently somebody thought you needed, and it was probably you. You probably signed up for it. If you can say that to your child who's questioning their gender, you may be able to allay their fears about not fitting in. Now, let's talk about not fitting in. Okay. I didn't fit into my biological family. They saw to it that MI5 disappeared me and trafficked me into the adoption network, and I was fostered by a family that was not only biologically a different race. Okay, I was fostered by a Russian, Ukrainian, Semitic family, and here I am, whatever it is you want to call this, a Saxon, okay, a Saxon, Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, okay. I'm fundamentally German. When I go into German travel logs, that's the way I live, okay. So I'm a German in this Bolshevik, Russian, Ukrainian family. Didn't fit in there. And I was fortunate enough to run into the teachings of Jesus that talked about it doesn't matter who you are. If you claim being imperfect, you can be accepted that way. And that's what Jesus said, you know, just accept that you're a sinner and repent from sin, and God will give you life. And I accepted that offer, and I've stayed with that offer. However, I don't stay with the churches who operate from ignorance and stupefaction and don't have enough metaphysics to discuss these issues of gender confusion. They just take things at face value. Good old churches, they just take their dogma and their doctrine and their beliefs and their political correctness at face value, and they don't go any deeper. They say they go deeper, but they only go deeper to the extent that the Hebrew Bible takes them deeper, and that's not deeper enough. Okay, you know, and I know that's been my position all along, that the Hebrew Bible is wonderful. It's a great summary of the history of our world, but hey, there's a lot of backstory that it is not included. That has to be included if you want to get the rest of the story, which is that ETs and Anunnaki settled and civilized this world 500,000 years ago, and their Babylonian culture is still operative and has moral and ethical effects that need to be questioned in third density physical reality. Third density physical reality is different from the Anunnaki fifth density reality. Their method of problem solving doesn't work down here very well, okay? And we have to know the difference between fifth dimensional visualization of what we want to manifest versus buying the bricks and the mortar to build something. All right, we have to know more about metaphysics than the church is even knowledgeable enough to teach us. We have to learn a lot more about a lot of things because we are taught by theories and hypotheses and doctrines and dogmas and rule baiting. We are not taught by truth and the laws of causes and effects. Those have been almost abandoned except by the chemistry department. Okay, the chemistry department's pretty straight. Everybody else is running on theories. All right. But anyway, be that as may, it's not on the topic. All right. So what I wanted to discuss today is the fact that questioning gender is a legitimate question, and how you handle it depends on the level of wisdom, metaphysical, spiritual, personal wisdom that you have been able to garner. And if you're going to stay with political correctness, you're going to destroy the soul of the child who's trying to find their way, because the child has deemed that not fitting in is worse than death. And that's why so many kids are offing themselves. Not fitting in is not worse than death. Not fitting in is an experience that God gives us to enable us to grow in new directions. And if we take it that way, we'll be all right. And our kids will be all right. So allow not fitting in to be part of the conversation that you have with your children and grandchildren, because it's a very important experience to master. And this has been Emily Craig, and I hope you'll hit the subscribe button and the notification button and so on. And no, I pretty much let my subscription at Patreon lapse because I don't want to turn this into a regular money-making subscription thing. I don't think we live in a time when that's appropriate. But holyconservancy.org does have a fund or a place for donations at PayPal. If you want to make a donation, that's cool. That's great, because I live on Social Security and what I can scratch. So we cope, and when we don't fit in, we talk to God a lot. Yeah, we talk and we listen. We talk and we listen, because not fitting in is a very enlarging and enriching experience. And I hope you'll share this with your children. Thank you for coming by. Bye-bye.